For this project, you're going to learn an awesome technique in art. It's called a transfer. You're going to study one side of an insect very carefully, fold your paper, and rub the other side. This will transfer your lines onto the other side of the paper to make a symmetrical bug, which you can color or paint however you choose. You can use pencils to make a transfer, but you have to push really hard. You could use crayon or oil pastel, or you could use paint. The trick is to paint a little bit at a time, then fold and rub. A symmetrical bug! It's so cool. I love this technique. All right, let's talk about insects. When most people draw a bug, they draw something that looks a little like this. Nope. Beetles and other bugs have 3 parts. They have a head. Touch your head and say head. They have a thorax. Touch your chest and say thorax. And they have an abdomen. Touch your side, I guess, and say abdomen. They also have 6 legs, wings, and antennae on their head. Most bugs and butterflies are symmetrical. That means if you drew a line down the middle, the left side and the right side would be the same. What are some other things we can find in nature that are symmetrical? All right, let's get started. For this project, you're going to act like a scientist. You can pick a butterfly or a beetle. If you're going to use the butterfly, I would hold your paper the wide way, horizontally. Put the butterfly on one side. If you want to use the beetle, hold your paper vertically. Then you're going to fold your paper in half. If you didn't get the picture of a butterfly or a beetle, that's okay. Just fold your paper in half and you can kind of look at the picture I'm drawing, or you can find a picture on the internet. But either way, after you folded your paper in half and put your half of an insect on one side, you are going to do your very best to draw the other side to match. Now, if you don't look very carefully, this is probably how you might draw a butterfly, right? But is that a good match? Not really. That's what I think a butterfly looks like. Let's be scientists and draw a little more carefully. So, how many body parts does a bug have? Do you remember? 1, 2, 3. The head, the thorax, and the abdomen. So let's start with the other side of the head. I'm going to start with a pencil. So I'm going to do the other side of the head, the other side of the thorax, and the other side of the abdomen. You can be as complicated or as not complicated as you want. If you choose the beetle, and again, if you don't have one, just kind of pause the video and look at mine to kind of help you out. Try to get these to match. Sometimes, as a trick, I kind of use my fingers and like touch one side, and it's like, okay, that big, that big. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it won't be perfect because you're not a robot, right? Just do your best. Next, butterflies have 2 wings, and they go out pretty far. So make sure you make a nice big upper wing, curves up, and a nice big lower wing. I made my top one a little bit too big, but you know what? That's okay. It's going to look awesome no matter what. On the beetle, I'm going back and adding details to all the legs using lots of little shapes. On the butterfly, I can add some patterns. Don't get too complicated on your pencil stage because you have to trace everything with crayon. If you're at home, you're going to trace with crayon. If you're at school, we're going to use oil pastel because that's going to make the transferring part a lot easier. You're also going to need a spoon to rub with, or anything hard. I think a spoon is probably my favorite. So I'm adding lots of details here. Okay, after you're done with your half of an insect, fold your paper in half again, and get your spoon and start rubbing. Make sure you're rubbing somewhere where you actually drew. Push really hard with your whole body weight and check it out. It's starting to work. If it doesn't work, you might have to go over your drawing with crayon again. So make sure the crayon is nice and thick. I'm really pushing. Open it up, take a peek. I like it. It's great. And feel free to add details that you don't see on a real butterfly. Your next step is going to be to trace the whole thing with a crayon again so that you can see that side because the one you open up is going to be real light. Here's me doing the beetle that I'm going to do in school using an oil pastel. Close, rub, and open, and trace again. Next, you can color your bug or your butterfly with paint, with crayons, with markers, anything you have at home. If you like, you can do your background also. Try using contrasting colors. So if you use mostly warm colors for your bug, try mostly cool colors for your background. I hope you enjoyed looking closely like a scientist today and using a transfer to make a symmetrical bug.